Are you doing a mullet, by the way?
Well, it's kind of burst fadey mullet kind of thing. So yeah, this is maybe a week after I got it cut, so it does get longer than this to sort of.
I couldn't pull one off, like, but you go.
I
don't think you would, Harry.
No, it certainly would not suit one.
Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools of Horses YouTube channel. Plenty to talk about this week. We had lots of Group 1 clues for the rest of the season in the recent Newmarket July Festival. We'll be speaking about that. Horses we liked, horse we didn't like, maybe some eye catches as well. And we have this weekend's action. We have Group 1 action to talk about with the Group 1 Irish Oaks this weekend. Minnie Hauk, Whirls in there. You got Bedtime Stories, and Aidan O'Brien Feast at the Curragh on the weekend. But there's also some fantastic racing over in the UK. We've got the Hackwood Stakes, we've got the Super Sprint at Newbury. Plenty of action to talk about in our best weekend bets. Gentlemen are either side of me. Lee, I suppose, has the July Festival. We're in this sort of period of the season in between Royal Ascot and Glorious Goodwood. We have had a nice festival at Newmarket last weekend. How's your luck going? Because I can certainly say mine isn't great at the moment. So are you pulling the weight in the Only Fools of Horses crew? You getting the winners in?
I'd like to think so, Ash. Look, I enjoyed Newmarket the other day. I had a couple of winners. I was disappointed to see Ghostwriter not run. I was looking forward to see Ghostwriter back out, but I don't know what happened in the paddock there, but hopefully all right when the horse got home. But yeah, look, it's been an interesting one. The boys in blue that basically cleaned up. William Buick was on fire, and he like you look at Ryan Moore. I think Ryan Moore is the GOAT. I think he is the greatest jockey around. But William Buick, look, he's right up his arse, really, isn't he? He's just on fire at the minute, and he knows the time of day. So they had a great festival, and people kind of almost say, look, you just had a shit Ascot and kind of wrote them off, but they always come good at this time of year, and it'll be interesting how Aidan's and Charlie Appleby's matchup kind of going into Goodwood and Galway. But we're going to do a big preview, I think, on Goodwood and Galway together, and have some guests on as well, which we've got lined up as well. So yeah, looking forward to getting stuck in anyway.
Definitely, yeah. And I think it goes without saying, time and time again, Charlie Appleby and Godolphin may have a slow Ascot. They do come back for Newmarket, and last week definitely showed. Harry, how about yourself? How's the world of Harry Beard treating you, and are you looking forward to this weekend's racing?
Yeah, the world of Harry Beard, mate, is just crazy, but it's good. We're still ticking along, and we're still here, so that's always the main thing. Newmarket was really good. I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't catch much of the racing on Friday, but I did watch quite a bit on Saturday. It was good fun. I thought the July Cup people are crabbing the July Cup, but it's just, it is what it says on the tin. It's carnage, and it's supposed to be carnage. It's, the sprinting, you needed the look of the draw, and I think that was very much the case. I felt quite bad for Kevin Ryan and Inisherin. I thought they'd have had a massive chance. Looking back, but hindsight's a wonderful thing.
What happened there? Was there nothing reported after? I think he was fuming, wasn't he?
No, I think it was just wasn't it?
Yeah, he didn't look the happiest. But then again, you've got to have the rub of the grip.
They've got to take their chances, I suppose. Look, give yourself a plug, Harry, because you did put a massive price one up to finish third there in the cup.
Yeah, I did fancy the Run to Freedom in the July Cup. I just thought he was a massive price. I didn't think that the other big price, No Half Measures, would be the one to collar him. But it's just it's one of those. Big Mojo, I know, was given a sweet mention on the channel as well on Saturday morning. So between all three of us, we weren't far off. It's just we didn't really expect a WhatsApp message that was sent by the trainer to I love that. I absolutely love that. For anyone that hasn't seen, Ash, I'm sure you can maybe just put a clip up here of what the actual message was. It was just a message saying, do you want to ride in the July Cup? Yes, I really fancy her. She's flying.
The day before he asked me as well, and I said no.
Yeah.
He did
I
put that
unfortunately had a golf but a tea time book, so I couldn't make it.
Yeah, we all said no, and then he's chose Neil Cullen. So look, good luck to you, Neil. Well done.
Isn't it crazy though? I think there's a bigger picture here. The fact that these horses can come to life at different times of the year, and I think that's such a big thing. You know, especially with the flat, that I feel like some of these horses, especially the 2-year-olds, maybe they come on so much for leaps and bounds and silly things. Now I know people are going to call me a twat, and I get called a twat every day, but a sun on the back, and they can have that much improvement that you just don't know that they could be a completely different horse.
The trip. What about the trip? Because I think the horse was 3 wins at the trip, and then went back to that trip.
Yeah, she's got a brilliant record. She's been running over 5. I think the last time she ran over 6. She actually won at Deauville. That was back at, I think it was 2024, 2023. Now I could be wrong, either one of the two. But she's got a great record, and if the game was that easy, we'd all be fucking millionaires. It's just the way it is. On all known form, that what she'd shown this year, we didn't really fancy her. But it's a funny old game, this race in Malarkey, and fair play.
Certainly keeps us on our toes. We're doing sort of just like a main July festival sort of recap, and our sort of main fancy, horses that we want to talk about, horses that potentially we've got an eye on going forwards. I suppose the July Cup is the place to go. I mean, we've all had a bit of a nudge there. All I'd say on July Cup is, I suppose the sprinting division is just really, really weird. I can't really get my head around it. Yeah, it's bad. Like, looking at this weekend with the Hackwood Stakes, like you're trying to work out the different form lines, and you're like, oh, well, this horse beat this one, but then also that horse disappointed, but then also went and won and beat this horse. It's all just a bit of a nightmare. I suppose no half measures. The thing you can say about her and Big Mojo to an extent is that No Half Measure was a 3-year-old last season, won a Group 3 in a listed race, was slightly disappointing at the start of the season, showed a bit of form, and then has gone and improved, obviously, to win a Group 1. Big Mojo, juvenile last season, running some nice juvenile races, was given a bit of a tough ride through at Royal Ascot, and then has sort of been a little bit still slightly unexposed and finished second. And the third, Run to Freedom, was second in this race 2 years ago. So it kind of shows where the sprinting division hasn't really, improved in that sort of space of 2 years. So I think what I'm going to be having a little bit of an eye on going forward in these sprint races, these group races, maybe not so much the Group 1s, but the sort of Group 2s and Group 3s, is if there are horses coming into it with slightly more exposed profile, less established.
I think the younger horses, Ash, I think that's a good point. I think definitely the younger. Yeah, I think the younger horses this year, we've seen the likes of Charles Darwin. What's the other O'Brien colt, the 2-year-old? He got withdrawn. What's his fucking name?
Albert Einstein.
That's the one. I think these sorts of horses that are coming through, I think these are much better than the crop that we've got right now. We haven't got the likes of a Batash that's coming around, he's scorching. We haven't got Shaquille, who, when he went on that mad streak and, he was winning everything left, right, and centre. We just don't have that at the minute. And I think that as a punting perspective, I think that is, the most dangerous thing, because these horses, like you mentioned, lads, are just beating each other. And for me, I've learned a financial lesson recently, especially in the sprinting division and especially in this company. So when the young guns come through, I'd be looking to take the older generation on.
Yeah, there you go. Hopefully we'll be looking at sort of sprinting races going forward and taking that into practice. Lee, just on the Newmarket July Festival as a whole, was there any sort of 1 or 2 performances that really, really impressed you? Any horse that you're looking to keep on side going forwards? I'll just leave the floor to yourself.
Look, kind of two parts that we've discussed. One was Big Mojo. I thought ran a huge race. I actually did. Think had a solid enough chance. He had to maybe forgive the Ascot run, but yeah, look, I thought Big Mojo ran a huge race there in the July Cup. Look, there was plenty disappointed, but I think still can progress to win, group races. So yeah, Big Mojo. But Opera Ballo, I thought was very impressive. I did think, backing up that Sandown run, coming on again there. I thought done, not too much wrong, but still done enough wrong and could have faded away and still power to the line. Yeah, so another one for, like we say there, the Godolphin team there, and Charlie Appy, William Björk. Like, yeah, I was very impressed with Opera Ballo. But yeah, Big Mojo, I'd probably take out the main race there and keep on side, let's say.
Yeah, for sure. I thought Big Mojo, like you said there, just very. I thought it was a really big performance from him, and he's now going to drop back in trip to 5 furlongs and go to the King George Qatar Stakes. Yeah, at Goodwood. So that'll be interesting. The race.
You think that's the right move, Ash? Would you say?
I actually don't know. Like, because you look at his racing last season, he was second to Asterius in race at Doncaster. Can't remember the race now. Is Group 2, I think. And he raced quite prominently and sort of kicked away, but Asterius was with him. But then the whole time, but for most of his career, he's been positioned out the rear of the field and sort of comes through horses when they start to sort of wander a bit, suggesting that he's just got a lot of boot. Will he be able to drop back to 5 furlongs seamlessly and keep up with the same sort of speed? I don't know, but I think it probably is the natural place to go, because like, where else do you go? Do you sort of bat him into the Sprint Cup at Haydock and then go to the Champion
He
Sprint?
won there at Goodwood last season, did he not?
No, he did. He did. He won the 2-year-old race there at Big Price Morecambe.
Yeah.
So I think potentially it's probably is the correct move, because if they wait for the Sprint Cup at Haydock, there's a chance they could get slightly softer ground. It's getting to that sort of period of the season, and especially for the the Champion Sprint Stakes on Champions Day. So I think if you can get that run into him while the ground's still quick, then grand, yeah, that's fine. Harry, anything for you that you want to highlight just from away from what we've spoken about from the Newmarket July Festival?
I'd say Billy Joe in the
yes, definitely.
Oh
definitely.
my word! I mean, if you talk about an eye catcher, I mean, Tom Marcon. Don't get me wrong. You can't. Let's not get away from Tom Marcon. Straight away, he knew the Golden Highway. It reminded me of Newcastle. Get up that golden rail and just basically fly up. And I always felt he was going to get there. I always just felt like he is going to get there.
Really, it took.
Well, I did. I did. Even when it was a Alto, wasn't it? He was swinging away, but I just thought as soon as Marcon, was rowing away, I thought he's going to find him. And I was glad that he put him to the gun early, because his problem at Ascot was he didn't, and he relished that extra furlong. I think that what it was on Saturday. But if you look back at Billy Joe, I mean, talk about an eye catcher, and he's been dropped a pound. He's been dropped a pound.
Really?
I can't believe it. I can't believe he's been dropped a pound. I thought, oh my word. Now, actually, I was looking at this. The Bunbury Cup, the winners of the race. You've got the big handicap at Ascot. I think
the International.
That's the one, the International at the end of the month, and you've also got the Stewards Cup. Now, the winners of the race have got an awful record in the International. I think there's only been one winner out of the last 20 or something like that. But I think if Billy Joe rocked up there, I'd be absolutely.
The problem is like one of them that he's always looks, an eye catcher. Like, there's a lot of runs where you can go back and say like.
I get that, because the last time he won was February last year. It's
just one of them that he could just keep flattering to deceive, if you know what I mean. But look, he was an eye catcher. It was right from the back, wasn't he? Like, literally.
Oh yeah, he was. And then he was on the far side, and then he was on the near side, and then he was up through the middle. It was just an absolute shitstorm if you were watching it. Luckily, I didn't even know until I watched the race back. I was thinking, oh my god, who's this Greg? Definitely one to keep on side with.
For sure.
Good. Yeah, I had that in my eye catchers book as well. Could go to the Stewards Cup, could go to the International.
Well, if you look at 25s and 20s, 25s for the International and 20s for the Stewards Cup.
Which would you favour there, would you?
I'd love to see him in the Stewards Cup.
He ran at Goodwood last year twice. I think the Stewards Cup was one race he ran in, actually, and finished second or third to get it. He did. So I think obviously. I think they might go to Goodwood. They might do the double, because they ran at Goodwood twice. They ran in the 7 furlong Class 3 handicap and then went to the Stewards Cup Class 2 handicaps. They might do that.
And that was off 95. He's £2. He's £2 better off this year. So if they throw a little claimer on him, go on.
For me, I don't have too much that I wanted to say. I thought I couldn't really get my head around it too much. All I say is Royal Fixation ran a big race behind Venetian Sun. Venetian Sun just scrambled home. I wouldn't back her for the Guineas, but she could be one for the is it the pre-Morney. I think they mentioned the Morney
Yeah.
but for her. And I think Carl Burke's probably got a 90% ready, or had a 90% ready for Newmarket. She probably will come on for it just a touch more. I think he just had her ticking over at home rather than doing anything too serious after Ascot. But Royal Fixation ran a huge race, going to the Lauver. I think Ed Walker thinks quite a lot of Royal Fixation for Opulence, and I think she could be going okay in the Lauver. January was second to Cinderella's Dream in the Falmouth. I'm almost certain January will win a Group 1 this season, whether that's in France, whether that's in the US, whether that's over here, whether it's in Ireland, wherever. I think she'll win a Group 1. And was there anything else? No, not really, to be honest. I was racing on the Thursday, and it was all just a massive, huge blur. But the closest I got to a win was Nighttime Dancer in the first, and I thought he was going to win. And Scandinavia pulled out a lot more. So yeah, I highlight those two just as horses to keep on side going forward. Basically, I just think January will win something this season. Right then, gentlemen. We'll go from last weekend to this weekend with races we've sort of discussed there. We've got Newbury, we've got the Irish Oaks, we've got plenty to talk about. I suppose we'll put this all in one, but the Irish Oaks just specifically, we've seen 9 horses have been confirmed for the race. 7 of them are Aidan O'Brien. Minnie Hauk is 3-1 on. Will is 5-1. Bedtime Stories 13-2. And then the 2 horses that aren't Aidan O'Brien's, Joseph O'Brien's, We Might Take the Long Way at 8-1, and Subsonic, Johnny Mercer at 40s. And then you've got Island Hopping, Merrily, Bay Colony. Sorry, that's another one. That's the other horse. There is 3 non-Aidan O'Brien horses, 100-1, and Butterfly Wings at 100-1 as well. So I'll go with 2 questions to both of you. Minnie Hauk in the Irish Oaks this weekend. I think that Will might miss the race and go to the Nassau personally. So just Minnie Hauk win the Irish Oaks this weekend, Harry. And second of all, away from racing where there might actually be some bigger prices, is there anything that's catching your eye?
Yeah, well, I'd fancy Minnie Hauk to do the double. I'd fancy her to win on Saturday and then win the Yorkshire Oaks. I think that's the way that they'd go. And I think, like you said, the Nassau would be the obvious one for Will. I just think, she suits it. I thought she was unlucky at Epsom. I really did. And I thought that she just bumped into Minnie Hauk, I thought was so green. And I thought there was just, if that was going to be the day that you beat Minnie Hauk, that would have been the day, because I think, she will come on an absolute shed load for that. Can't see a beat on Saturday. I'd be amazed if anything came out of the woodworks. You've got the likes of We Might Take the Long Way, who was, quite a, I wouldn't say quite a long way back, but behind Will, but never really looked like getting involved. Did run on, but you had the likes of Servi, I think it was in third, the French horse, the Clermont horse, who's a very good horse, but he's never really, I wouldn't say, threaten at the top level, where I think these two will. So that'd be my way I'd play it. I'd probably play the double of Minnie Hauk to win this and the Yorkshire Oaks, and I'd probably forget about Saturday for Whirl, and I'd just back her at 5-2 for Nassau, and I'd probably have a good bet on 5-2 because I think she won't be that price on the day. Yay! First Knobhead of the Week award goes to you, Ashley.
Well, I was going to come back to you there and ask about the weekend, but no, you can sit in silence for being so mean to me. Lee, Minnie Hauk for the Irish Oaks, yay or nay? And then I'll ask you as well, anything for this weekend, if you sort of have any early prices that you sort of think are quite interesting.
Yeah, Minnie Hauk will win. I'm pretty sure that's just kind of a given. Look, Ian's probably going to take a few out. Maybe just have an easy time of it, Minnie Hauk. Yeah, like Harry says, look, kind of backed up his thing with Will, but I thought it was more, look, I don't sit on the fence. I thought it was more, go on, Ryan, you can have it. Like, that's how I really do think it's like that. If you look back at that Oaks, yeah, look, we'll not get into that, but yeah, look, Minnie Hauk will win. The weekend, you mentioned that Hackwood, it's a Group 3. There's Group 2 and Group 1 horses in there, running in there. It's a complicated mix, and exactly how you said, like, who's going to show up on the day, basically what Harry was saying, who's best in on the day. Regional, I thought, ran a good race at Royal Ascot. Look, 7 now, but can put up that performance a notch, I would have said. Got headed, come back and fought on well, steps back up to 6 now. look, Elite Status is beat regional in this. I think was this race last season, if I'm right, isn't it? Yeah. But Elite Status has been out of the washing a few times and not looked in the same form as last season. So I'm happy to take on again. I think regional is the one. Kind of looked disappointed, blew out at Newcastle and done that twice again since the Group 1 win at the back end of last season at Ascot there. But yeah, look, I'll probably take regional stepping back up. I thought that was a solid run. I know, age is kind of going against regional compared to these 4 and 5 year olds or whatever coming through. And got maybe a bit more scope for improvement, let's say. But yeah, regional Hackwood Group 3 from a Group 1. I'll probably weigh in there. And Arizona Blaze is a horse that I like, crossing the Group 2 at the Curragh. Yeah, look, I've kind of, and I went over the cliff a bit, but I feel like, look, I backed at Haydock, I think it was, a few runs back. Kind of scrapped the run. Like, I just think has really solid form. And then I backed it. Look, I backed it 16s. I did advise, like, I have a group, and I did say this horse will target this race at Royal Ascot and run a big race, and that was way back before the other run. And it went off 28, and it was denied by like a bloody width of a paper. Won, his side of the race. But yeah, just denied. It was kind of agony, but went off 28 in the end as well, which I thought was a huge race. Drops back to a Group 2 now. Yeah, I think can run a good race again. I'm unsure what the price are going to be. I don't think there's a price up there unless you've got it.
I'll give you a price if you'd like. Yeah, they've just dropped them in. I don't know how to pronounce the horse's name at the top of the market. The Ed Walker horse that was a non-runner at Royal Ascot.
Yeah,
Maghera.
2-1.
Buccaneer Fuerte for Ammo Racing, 4-1. Rumstar, 4-1. Arizona Blaze 5s. She's quality 6s. Powerful Nation 8-1. Magnum Force 10-1. That's a bit of a big price. Night Eyes 10-1 as well.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm not going to lie. I would scrap that Magnum Force. It hasn't looked in love with it this season. I really look the 2 runs so far.
What do you really think of it? What do you really think of the horse?
It's a not going to win.
We'll move on.
And that's what I would think. The 1 minute weekend. Look, it needs a proper revival. That horse. I've been watching it, and I thought it was a big price to turn over a favourite. I think it was second favourite the last day, and it just didn't look happy at all. So I would not, if I need my words, but it needs to come back before you start backing it, I would have said. But yeah, look, Arizona Blaze a horse I like. Buccaneer 30 is in something else, if I'm right.
I will find out for you now.
Yeah, these are all off the top of my head, as people know by watching this, so I just ramble on off memory. But
it's in the Flying 5, but that's like in September time. So no, it's just this weekend.
Whether they won't go against each other, that's for sure. So maybe it's just hold out. But look, I like Arizona Blaze as a horse. I think I'll back regional in the Group 3, the Hackwood, dropping down from a Group 1. There's 2 to go to war with. Minnie Hauk will win.
Nice. I'll give a couple for this weekend. I'll give 1 in a race that's not priced up. Yes, I know, very helpful. Just the Curragh, the 6.5 furlong Scurry handicap. Now, I know what we've been saying about the British sprinters not being as good as potentially what they have been in recent years, but something I've tended to follow over the last couple of seasons is the British sprint handicappers going over to the sprint handicaps in Ireland. It's been quite a profitable scheme. George Baker, I think, is a really, really, really good trainer at getting horses.
I'm going to his yard next month. If you want to come, feel free.
Well, if he wins this weekend, I'll give him a bottle of champagne.
He's actually got a new yard. It's Downs House or something like that. It's on the.
He trains some Epsom, doesn't he?
Yeah. So he's on the Downs.
Yeah. Do you remember when he had? I think George Baker, the jockey, rode the horse called George Baker.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a horse running this weekend, or he could have a horse running this weekend at the Curragh called Desert Cop. Now, this is a horse who I've backed before when he was with Andrew Boulding and owned by Jed Smith. Yeah. So it's entered for the Scurry Handicap, also entered for the Stewards Cup. George Baker's very good at getting his horses nicely handicapped over in Bahrain or Meydan or anything. This horse is over in Bahrain. Ran some nice races, like really did run some decent races. Second in a couple of handicaps. Won a conditions race in Bahrain. It's come for 2 races over in the UK and finished 17th of 19 and 24th of 28. Prices of 16 to 1, 100 to 1 respectively. So he wasn't going to win any of those races. Get It won the race that he finished pretty much stone last in last time. It was at Wokingham. Again, similar profile, ran over in Bahrain, ran really well over in Bahrain, but different to Desert Cop is that he's come back and won 2 races rather than finishing pretty much last in 2 races. Because of this, Desert Cop's now down to a mark of 97. I think if they're going over to the Curragh, they're not going over for the fresh air, are they? They probably think he's got a bit of a chance. And they probably have following similar lines of, well, these British handicaps do very well in Irish handicaps, sprint handicaps. So if he goes over, he's a very, very classy horse in his day. He was rated pretty decently when with Andrew Balding, rated in the low 100s, finished second to Shaquille in the Carnarvon Stakes in 2023. If he goes over and takes a chance, I think he could be a nice price in Desert Cop. In the 2 o'clock at the Curragh on Saturday. Elsewhere, right, the Hackwood Stakes. We've already you've spoken about it a little bit, Lee, and I've I need to sort of back myself up in the way that I think maybe you can find an angle to take on some of these sprinters that are already established. So I have 2 horses. Number 1, Cliff Horse of mine. He is a regular guest on this show, Iberian.
Honestly, you need to go to like some sort of psych ward for backing this horse because it is an absolute rat. Like it is. It is.
No.
You cannot. Right? Okay, I'll take it back. That is slightly harsh, but I mean, you won't back the horse with stolen money. Like really.
I think if you look into
one way. Honestly, I think
I'll tell you one way. Okay, all right. I'll tell you a couple of ways. So around the QE2 Jubilee Stakes last time out, as we know, Lazat and Santana Rev were just
never looked like ever winning. Ever.
Well, I didn't like winning, but it looked like running a very good race on the wrong side of the track. Lazat and Santana Rev, these foreign sprints that come over, they're just better than ours. But I think the form line of the QE2 Jubilee Stakes is pretty fine. Flora Bermuda bombed out in the July Cup. Ignore that. Night Eyes in 4th. She ran a huge race in a Group 3 at York last weekend. Ran a big race there and could be improving very nicely. Jasur was in 6th. He ran okay in the July Cup. Inisherin was in 7th. Don't know what he's bobbing about, but you seem to be quite sweet on his chances. Harry as a horse going forward. 8th was Run to Freedom, 3rd in the July Cup. You got some decent horses through the field. Iberian was on the wrong side of the track. He was staying on nicely. I think an easier track like this will hopefully suit him. And a touch of rain that we've had today would also hopefully benefit him as well. I think he could be very interesting at 6 furlongs in the Hackwood Stakes, but also in the same race. I just think he's a horse who's improving, coming out of handicaps. A Ramran, right? Ran into More Thunder twice this season. More Thunder's won the Bunbury Cup. Ran a really good race at Newcastle from the wrong side of the track. We talk about the Golden Highway at Newcastle. He was on the far side. He got through the pack. He got to the front a touch too soon for my liking and was caught late on. Coming into Group Company, he's obviously a massive unknown, but he's 33 to 1. I wouldn't mind taking a chance on him. And that's really all I have for the weekend. So I'm going to give you 1 for Bath, right? This video comes out on Wednesday morning. I'm going to back one in the 250 at Bath. So all these fresh early bird viewers are going to hopefully have a winner, I hope. In the second race, the 250, 5.5 furlong restricted maiden stakes. It is firm ground at Bath. Quick ground horses need apply. Dark Alley has run twice so far this season. Once winning off 200 to 1 at Bath at the start of June, and then once ridden by Edward Greatrix, trained by Warren Greatrix at Windsor last time out, and ran a big race behind Our Cody, who looks like a pretty unexposed, improving handicapper for Richard Hughes. Lovely pedigree on the Dam side, and the fact that Dam won on firm ground. Land Force of the Sire, I'm not a huge fan of his, but he's got a really quick ground pedigree. He can build on his last run at Windsor. I think it was interesting they booked Edward Greatrix for it last time out. Now getting Charlie Bishop on board, 9 to 4, Dark Alley in the 250 at Bath. Hopefully he can do the job. That's all I have to talk about. I've given you a Cliff horse, I've given you 1 for Bath, I've given you a handicap that's not priced up yet at the Curragh. That's
do you think people do like up on the ante and just skip to the end for the tips?
I hope they don't. They're not going to be very profitable if they do. Anyway, that's all we're talking about, gentlemen. We've covered the July Cup. We've covered this weekend. Lee, before we finish up, we are, as you said at the start of the video, doing Goodwood and Galway. We've got guests lined up. Do you want to plug that once more?
Yes, Goodwood and Galway is the end of the month. Look, I've got a couple of tickets to give away there on my page if anybody does want to have a go. But yeah, we'll be doing it on the Sunday or the Monday. It'll be coming out for the week ahead. So obviously Goodwood's on the Tuesday. Goodwood's like a full week. At Galway, sorry, full week. I've got guests penciled in, so I'll not reveal them yet. And we'll see how we get on, how many we can get on. But yeah, look, it'll be informative and hopefully find plenty of winners. And we'll do a big preview for Goodwood Galway combined in a couple of weeks.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much. We're back on Saturday morning. Harry won't be because he'll be definitely maybe watching Oasis. So have fun there, Harold. I'll be in Wales for the annual Welsh holiday I have, but I will be on the live. So we'll be covering the racing on Saturday from Newbury and probably talk about the Irish race again. And yeah, if you want to play on
we've got in Market Racing as well. Look, we've got
of course, the summer plates.
Yes.
Jumps. What even are jumps?
All that's been going on in the office today, talking about the summer play. It's just
not in the jumps mode at all at the moment. Just give me the flat.
I did watch Get Newton Abbott the other day, and I was pleasantly surprised. I just love it.
It's just back Sean Bowen, isn't it? That's it. Back Bowen blind. That's it, really. And cracking on.
In fairness, it's not the worst scenario in the world. We talked about the sprinters being a bit of a minefield, but if you back, I mean, he had a double the day after his wedding. I mean,
what a man!
He went up to Perth a day after his wedding. I mean, the guy is an absolute worker, but he deserves it.
When did they actually get arrested though? Which, look, it's a different subject, but just looking at that, when did they actually get arrested?
They get that 2-week holiday in the summer, which is a load of bollocks anyway, because most people just
his new wife will be like, taking the piss now.
Any danger to take a day off, yeah. So we'll be doing that on the Saturday Live as well. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't played any fancies, please do it responsibly. Until the next time, we'll see you very, very soon.